Okay, under 5B1, can I have somebody introduce, please?
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only.
Request for proposal and approval of purchase with Top Line Recreation, Inc. for playground equipment and installation at the Sleepy Hollow Sports Complex for an amount not to exceed $111,000 and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Thank you. Discussion? I actually had a gentleman ask me tonight from the audience to pull this item for discussion. Would you like to go to the podium? Would you like to go to the podium? Wasn't there a reason? Okay, I think what you're going to find is that Sleepy Hollow is sorely missing some playground equipment for younger kids. And this actually, $111,000 for that playground equipment is not a high figure.
Don Luckich. No, the reason I question it is every time I've gone by here, I never see young kids at this particular facility like you do at some of the other parks. Is it for the lack of the equipment, or is it for the, it's just where it's located, it's so hard to get to? I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
Okay.
I'd say that's a pretty rapidly growing area. There's a lot of new subdivisions out there, so I think a lot of families live out there.
In addition, there's a lot more competitive things on the weekend out there as far as baseball games, soccer games, tournaments, and whatnot. And the families going to see these things don't have anything for the younger children. So that's one of the reasons why they wanted to put this out there. Okay? Anything else?
Basketball court and maintenance to the equipment. It's gotten into a position to where it's not real safe. We had that item budgeted at 150 grand, I believe, and so it came in under budget. And that's the difference. We talked about that leftover amount in the transfers and the CIPs at the last meeting.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Roebuck?
Yes.
Commissioner Christian?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Mayor Dennison?
Yes. 5B2, would somebody introduce, please?
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a change order to an existing construction services agreement with LaFleur Nurseries and Garden Center, LLC, for an amount of $286,270.75 and providing an effective date.
Motion for approval, please.
Second.
No, would somebody like to second? We can't discuss until we have a second.
I thought I said second, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Peterson.
I'm not used to, this microphone's a little different tonight. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I pulled this one over, I did not question the expense on the playground, but I am questioning the expense on this one. I just want to be clear, I understand, if I'm reading this right, this is fencing, that there's a little there's a retention pond with chain link fence. We're talking about that strip from 441 to Main Street on Dixie. I mean, it's probably a city block. And I'm questioning, I just don't see how it could be this much money. I don't see how you could spend $300,000 to fence a retention pond and run some fence maybe a couple hundred yards down the highway. It just seems out. I've grumbled before about government prices versus private sector. I just cannot understand this number at all.
I will lobby strongly the commission for this project. If you recall, this is the intersection of Newell Hill and 441. And on the west side of that intersection, that's the Grand Canyon. the big ugly hole with the fence and the concrete stuff that goes in. Newell Hill and Dixie is one of our prominent intersections of the community. We just invested, what, $700,000, $1 million on doing the landscaping there. So what the picture is now is you have these beautiful date trees that line the sides of the road next to a fence next to the Grand Canyon. So
No.
we can't fit, and some of that cost is probably not just, you know, the government versus private thing, but you're also putting up a decorative fence that's similar to what we put up over here on a slope that's 15-degree slope. I mean, it's pretty significant. So there's some construction issues. And Cliff, I think it goes on both sides of the street too, because on one side, we're taking off the chain link, and then on the tower side, we're taking down that old metal. So bottom line is, we're trying to improve the aesthetics of that intersection, and the number is what the number is.
And I am not questioning the project. I think it's a great project. I was just questioning the numbers. They just seemed, I'm not in the fencing business. I know what we did on Dixie. I like it. When I saw 300,000, it just jumped out of me. I just felt like, you know, it could be done for half that.
And that number's not atypical for the one that we talked about to complete the fence from about, just right out here. So it's about where it's at.
I just want to bring that to the commission's attention. It just jumped out of me.
Now, this amount actually was higher until LaFleur returned some money, I seem to remember reading.
Yeah, there was some, Cliff, do you know the details on that?
The floor is our landscaping subcontractor. What I wanted to mention was that we don't own that property, that FDOT actually owns that property. So any projects that we submit to them has to go through a complete engineering design review, and their engineers are very particular in what they ask for. So what we designed and are wanting to construct had to pass their rigorous design review process. So that obviously increases the price a little bit, but it's going to be designed and built very well and designed to last. So the maintenance and long-term effects of it won't be significant.
By
Okay,
what you
thank
said, if I understand it, that still will remain FDOT property, is that correct?
Correct.
Are they not helping in this?
They are not.
They already did.
Yeah, but that was for the
no,
rest of Dixie.
No, they already did. The Dixie project was the Complete Street project. So that project was upwards of $500,000, and I think they gave about 800 grand for that. So are they giving money for the fence? No, but it's still part of the Complete Street project, is the change order.
Well, it does help me to understand it's on both sides of the road. I thought it was, you know, that helps a little bit.
Okay.
So, yeah, I also agree that it's crazy price-wise, and you know, whatever the reason FDOT making us do unrealistic building standards is fine, but I just think that in a year when we're not doing any capital improvements, if I'm going to spend $300,000, that's not the area of the city I'm going to pick. I don't disagree that it is an area that needs to be cleaned up, but I also don't view that as really a gateway to Leesburg. I mean, Leesburg starts about 10 miles before there on 441, and it's just like right kind of in the middle. You're not going downtown. I would spend the $300,000 elsewhere, and you know, we are in the situation where we have a limited amount of capital improvement funds. So I can't support that.
Anything, Commissioner Christian?
If I could add one quick thing. So the process we put in place to get this approved it's been about a 9-month-long process. And if we don't take advantage of this opportunity, we will have to go through a landscaping permit later down the road. And more than likely, I've not seen one. I know I've only been here for a year, but I've not seen a landscape permit get approved yet. So I think this is probably the only shot we have at this, just my opinion.
Thank you. Commissioner Christian?
I kind of, just what Mr. Kelsey just said about, you know, this project has been an eyesore for Leesburg for a very long time, and, you know, I concur that the price is kind of steep, but my only question is, if we don't do this, I mean, what are we looking at this project, this road where 10, 15, 20 years from now, and I don't know what we do when it comes to we have to move water lines or sewer lines, but I think this project probably is, Al talk calls it the Grand Canyon, but it is an eyesore in Leesburg. It is something that I think we have to address. And so I don't know, other than this, how else could the city of Leesburg address this? And we're hearing about we don't do it now. We have to do a landscape plan that won't get approved. So that means that this project probably won't get approved. It'll probably be kicked down the shelf. So although it is a $300,000 project coming out of the gas tax funding, you know, I'm just kind of a little leery of us not approving it because I think it's not going to be improved in the next 20 years if we don't do something tonight. So I'm kind of leery, but I do support the staff project on moving forward with a nice side fencing along this major corridor of Leesburg.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Christian?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Roebuck?
No.
Mayor Dennison?
No. I think that we have a tie here, and
Yeah, it doesn't pass.
it does not pass. Is there a possibility to bring it back if we ever have a full commission? Mr. Morrison?
It could be brought back if somebody that voted against it
You would.
voted in favor of the motion tonight and brings it back up again.
Okay, thank you. So for right now, that does not pass.
Well, I don't mind readdressing it. I will note that I'm going to be absent for the next meeting, 2 weeks from now. I mean, so don't bring it back in 2 weeks.
Okay, well, if I or Commissioner Roebuck change our mind, it can be brought back.
Oh, I misunderstood.
No,
I
it's
thought it went
not
the other way.
automatic,
Okay,
no.
my bad, sorry.
No problem. Okay, 5C4, would you like to introduce, please, somebody?
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a utility construction reimbursement pioneering agreement with CG Land Investments LLC for construction of a potable water main and providing an effective date.
Somebody move for approval,
Move for
please?
approval.
We have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you.
I need to stay out of this comment on contract with developers that would potentially benefit from this contract.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Christian?
Yes.
Mayor Dennison?
Yes. Okay, it looks like that's it for the consent agenda. I'm going to move to public hearings and non-routine items. First is a second reading of an ordinance repealing the local business tax. That's 6A. Would somebody like to introduce, please?
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, repealing Article 1 and Article 2 of Chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances pertaining to the local business tax and business tax receipts, amending Sections 25-292, 25-424, 26-1, and 26-32 of the Code of Ordinances to eliminate references to business tax receipts, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing a savings clause, and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion, please.
Just really excited that we're doing it. It's something I've wanted to see for a long time, and the county did it, and so we'll be right in line with them, and it's thing kind of really doesn't serve any purpose, so happy to see it go.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Roebuck?
Yes.
Commissioner Christian?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Mayor Dennison?
Yes. Okay, 6B. Somebody like to introduce, please?
I introduce and recommend read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, adding sections 22-129 and 22-130 to the Code of Ordinances, regulating discharges into the city wastewater system of amalgam from dental facilities and pharmaceuticals from healthcare facilities, requiring installation of certain equipment by dental facilities no later than July 14, 2020, to filter materials from wastewater, providing definitions, providing exemptions for certain dental facilities, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing a savings clause, and providing an effective date.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Public, any discussion? This is banning amalgam and taking care, make sure it's treated before it goes into the groundwater. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Christian?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Roebuck?
Yes.
Mayor Dennison?
Yes. 6C, would somebody like to introduce, please?
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Wildwood, Florida, providing a short title, providing findings and intent, granting a non-exclusive electric utility franchise to the City of Leesburg, Florida, its successors, and assigns franchisee to occupy municipal streets and rights-of-way in the City of Wildwood, Florida, for the purpose of providing electric and power services, prescribing the terms and conditions accompanying the grant of a franchise for a period of 30 years to acquire and/or construct, own, operate, and maintain certain services and facilities to serve the areas defined herein, providing for conflict and severability, providing an effective date.
This is the first reading for this item. Do you have any discussion from the commission?
It said we needed to approve it at a first reading. It was kind of weird language. Do we need to take action?
No.
Okay. Well, and then being the City of Wildwood, I wasn't sure.
Okay, yeah, the second reading will be the next commission meeting on July 27th. Any public comment? Thank you. That will be July 27th for that. Okay, 6D. Would somebody like to introduce, please?
I'll introduce, has to be read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, annexing certain real property consisting of approximately 1.57 acres, being generally located south of Rogers Industrial Park Road and east of County Road 33, as legally described in sections 14 and 15, Township 20 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, providing that said property so annexed shall be liable for its proportionate share of the existing and future indebtedness of said city, providing that such annexed property shall be subject to all laws and ordinances of said city as if all such territory had been a part of the City of Leesburg at the time of passage and approval of said laws and ordinances, providing that such annexed territory shall be placed in City Commission District 3 and providing an effective date.
Any discussion? This is a first reading. Public comment? Thank you. This will be on the agenda for the 10th of August for the second reading. 6E, please. Would somebody introduce?
Introduce and recommend, read by title only.
An ordinance amending the comprehensive plan for the City of Leesburg, changing the future land use map designation of certain property containing 1.57 plus minus acres from Lake County Industrial to City of Leesburg Institutional for a property generally located south of Rogers Industrial Park Road and east of County Road 33, as legally described in sections 14 and 15, Township 20 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Again, first reading. Any comment on this? I find it amazing we didn't own the property on this fire station for these many years. This is annexing the fire station over by Okahumpka into Leesburg. It's county property at this time. This will be heard on August 10th. And 6F, please. Would somebody like to introduce?
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, rezoning approximately 1.57 plus minus acres from Lake County CFD Community Facility District to City of Leesburg P Public for property generally located south of Rogers Industrial Road, Park Road, and east of County Road 33, as legally described in sections 14 and 15, Township 20 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Again, first reading. Are there any comments on this? Public comments? This will be heard on August 10th, the last three items. Okay, 6G. Would somebody like to introduce, please?
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an electric franchise agreement with Sumter Electric Cooperative, Inc., SECO, and providing an effective date.
Okay, could we have a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments?
I think I would like a little clarification. I read this a couple times and I am not crystal clear.
Okay. There was 2 franchise agreements on your agenda, and they both deal with the same thing. So here's what we're dealing with. As the villages is developing, the villages of Carter, kind of in that southeastern corner of Sumter County, from 44 to the north, Lake County line to the east, and 470 to the south, that box. They have decided, their plan is that each village that they put in, they want the villages to have the same utility provider. So when they got over to our 470 property, which they plan to build, the 470 property that we sold them, the territorial line on electric providers is divided. The north portion of it is Leesburg Electric, and the south portion of it is Duke Electric. And so that 470 property is one village. Okay. So what's happening is, because that is a Duke territory, we are giving our northern 470 property to Duke so that that can stay one village that's served by Duke, the 470 property. In exchange, Duke is giving us some of their territory that's over in Sumter County, which will be a village of Carter, the village of, Carter. It's about 800 and 900 units respectively. So we're giving Duke territory so the villages can build 800 homes, and Duke is giving us territory so that we can build about 900 homes. The good part about the trade is we'll develop quicker. So to do the trade, 3 things have to happen. On the ordinance that you approved, that was from the city of Wildwood. And so I have just totally described something that you didn't ask. But so Wildwood is giving us a franchise because we're the provider. The item that you are now dealing with, and Wildwood does that by ordinance. We do our franchises by resolution. There's really no rhyme or reason to why. So the first item that you did was the whole Duke, Villages, City of Wildwood granting us a franchise. And then this item is us, the City of Leesburg, renewing a franchise with SECO because they have some customers, SECO customers, are inside city limits. And we are renewing the franchise agreement with them by resolution.
So I guess by scratching my head why we would be trading electric service for property in our city limits.
Yeah, we're not. It was historically a territory that SECO served. Kind of like Legacy down in south side of Leesburg.
Okay.
So it's
when we annexed it.
Probably
SECO was
my
the
guess is
provider.
we annexed it while there was customers already there. They don't correspond.
Okay, I'm fine. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Roebuck? Yes. Commissioner Christian?
Yes.
Mayor Dennison?
Yes. Okay, 6H. Would somebody like to introduce, please?
Oh,
Resolution of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the issuance of the city's not to exceed $15 million electric system revenue note series 2020 to provide the city funds to acquire, construct, and equip improvements to the city's electric system, accepting the commitment of Citizens First Bank to purchase such series 2020 note, approving the form of and authorizing the execution and delivery of a loan agreement with Citizens First Bank to secure the repayment of said 2020 note, providing for the payment of such 2020 note from the net revenues of the city's electric system and amounts on deposit in certain funds and accounts and investment earnings therein on parity with certain existing city electric system debt. All is provided in the loan agreement. Authorizing the proper officials of the city to do any other additional things deemed necessary or advisable in connection with the execution of the loan agreement, such 2020 note and the security therefor. Authorizing the execution and delivery of documents in connection with said loan, providing for severability and other matters in regard thereto, and providing an effective date.
Motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Yeah, the purpose that the staff is recommending this action to the commission for is really a cash flow issue in the electric fund. The electric fund is sitting on around $18 million in total unrestricted reserve monies. And we have two major projects going on right now. Since I just babbled about the whole Duke Wildwood thing, our expense to get service out to that area is about $9 million. And I don't think our construction agreement really serves us or the customer that well, in that there would be such a huge chunk of reserve money that would come to the utility that then we would pay back over time. And two, the cash flow, even if that customer provided us that money less the construction, still kind of eats away our cash flow. So for 2.6%-ish, we can help the customer out, give them a lower construction contribution by agreement, and then pay back and build the system out of the proceeds without using our cash. And secondly, because we were in such a good cash position, about a year ago we made a determination to buy the 4 transformers to change out the system of a cost of about $4 million. So what the note does is allows us to cash flow better. The revenue that's generated from the villages will pay for the debt payment, and you'll be in a better cash position.
And you said 2.6, but am I correct, the rate's 2.13?
Yes. Is that right, Jim? Yeah.
Anything else? Anything from the public on this?
May-
Say that I think it's great that we're able to do with the local bank, and I'm glad to see that. They did it like everyone else, but perhaps citizens need a little bit of this. Great.
Was there anything there? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Roebuck?
Yes.
Commissioner Christian?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Mayor Dennison?
Yes. Informational reports. Financial reports as of May 2020. Anything? Nothing. City attorney items.
Nothing back there.
Thank you. City manager.
Nothing.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Christian?
I don't know if we've had discussion here about encouraging our citizens to wear masks in public places, but I'd like us to have a discussion from the city of Leesburg requiring our citizens to start wearing masks when they enter public places. So do we need to put that on an agenda item, Al, or?
Yep, I'll have it on the next agenda.
Thank you, sir. That's all that I have on tonight.
And you said encouraging, right? Or requiring?
We can mandate or whatever we need to do. I think it's up for discussion. I think for me, a lot of people that I'm close to are being actually affected by COVID-19 here in the city of Leesburg. So whatever we can do as a city, whether people do it or not, I think we should have that discussion and take a vote because I think it's very important for us to do that.
I just couldn't hear you clearly. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Roebuck?
I would second. I think that's a great idea. I do think in the interim, because this is something that does not need to be done by resolution, is that I think we should already be to the point where inside of city facilities that I think masks should be mandatory. That's a decision that we can make without an ordinance, I believe. Would that be right, Fred? Since that would be a kind of how do this policy wise.
It would be all right to do it inside city facilities.
Yeah, right.
I think city managers can make that as a policy.
Yeah, but I think it would be appropriate to have direction from the city, and I think it would be, for me, I'd want to see a similar policy to what we did at work, and that's, if you're in an office by yourself, no, you don't need to have one, but, if you're inside a building with multiple people, then it'd be appropriate to wear a mask. And so I don't know what the rest of the commission thinks about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fine.
Melissa, we put out a policy that we encouraged it. So we can update that.
Require it, yep. Anybody else on the roll call?
Oh, sorry. I turned my mic off.
Commissioner Peterson,
Nothing tonight.
Mayor Dennison?
I just want to confirm that, I mean, today, well, the report from yesterday in Florida, we surpassed everybody in the country yesterday by the number that we turned in as far as the virus. And if you want to take that worldwide, there's only 3 countries that are ahead of us right now, one of them being India, the U.S., and there's another country. So I don't think we want a reputation of not being concerned for our citizens. So I can absolutely go along with this, that if you're in a city facility, you must wear a mask. I know there's been a lot of problems with the stores and whatnot where people have actually gotten violent at times. I'm not saying Leesburg, but other places in the country, yelling about their own personal rights. Well, the people that are being infected by the people not wearing masks also have personal rights. So I'm just asking that everybody inside Leesburg offices, please be respectful. Thank you. Anything else? We are adjourned.